No worries. Um, okay, looks like we're live. Yes, we are. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome to Techies 15 Live. This is our 15 minutes live podcast by Immigrant Techies Network. It's our way of touching base weekly with each other in the community, inviting cool people doing cool work in the community. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Sorry we started late. We had some miscommunication issues, so we apologize for that. And our cool guest today is someone you probably already know, Adaeze Hubbard. Welcome, Adaeze.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this.
Yeah. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, your career journey, and what brought you to Innovate Calgary.
Yeah, no, thanks. So, yeah, as mentioned, my name's Adaeze. For those of you who don't know, thanks for making me feel a little bit popular, Wunmi. But yeah, I'm the venture manager at Innovate Calgary's Social Innovation Hub. So it's actually one of three of our hubs that we have. We also have a life science innovation hub and an aerospace and advanced manufacturing hub. But as the venture manager at Social Innovation Hub, we work with a lot of social enterprises, so not-for-profits, social impact focused founders. And I support a lot with venture building, coaching. I champion our inclusive innovation portfolio that supports underrepresented founders such as BIPOC, rural, and women founders. And then I also recently am taking over a program that my lovely colleague has been running for the last year, Reza, which is our business model enhancement program that supports nonprofits that are looking to enterprise and helping them see how they can look into different revenue streams and get the support that they need to get to that social enterprise level. And then we do a lot of events at the Social Innovation Hub. We have membership here. But really how I got here is I actually moved to Calgary 2 years ago. So actually this month is my 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. So from Edmonton,
Really? It does
from the
not feel that way at all.
honestly, I can't even believe it. Like I was just thinking about it because it's yeah,
From where? From where?
Edmonton. So not far,
Okay. Okay, not too
but
far.
down
Okay.
closer to the mountain and all that,
Right.
which I'm loving. But yeah, I actually started off at Innovate Calgary. So as a part of their Meaningful Connections program, which supported diverse founders with getting connected with diverse advisors. And so I went in as a coach to support two founders that I worked with over a couple months. And then I came for the wrap up of the program. And I was like, oh my goodness, the Social Innovation Hub. It's so cool here. I haven't seen something like this. I didn't even know that spaces like this existed. And I was like, when I
Mm.
move to Calgary, I'm going to get a membership and I'm going to join the Social Innovation
Oh, so
Hub.
you were gonna move to Calgary anyways.
Yeah, so I was looking to move, but I didn't have a
Okay.
plan yet on how it was going to happen. But I was like, it's going to fall into place. And then the role for Inclusive Innovation Coordinator came up, and I applied, and I was like, let me see. I
Mhm.
got it, moved to Calgary, focused mostly on the Inclusive Innovation portfolio for the first year. And then last year I got, yeah, promoted to venture manager. And so now I get to support
Awesome.
more largely. So.
What career prepared you for this? What training? What was your journey like? What did you study?
Yeah,
Or
so I
is
went to
it a lot
McEwen.
of pieces aligning or yeah.
Yeah, so it was a long journey. Like I like to share my journey of like getting into this role a lot because it wasn't like an overnight thing. From
Mm.
graduating university at McEwen, taking my Bachelor of Commerce in Management, I was not able to find a job. I graduated in 2018. 23, I started here. And it's actually like the first job that's actually aligned with where
Wow.
I'm trying
With
to go
what you
and what I'm
studied. Mm.
exactly. But the thing that came from coming out of
And you don't
university,
even have an immigrant journey, right?
no, no,
Oh.
no. don't. It was difficult,
Okay.
but nobody wanted to take a chance with me. And it was like you don't have experience or you have too much experience. And so I was like, I don't know what to do, but what I'm gonna do is try getting as much of experience as I can to then prepare me for this role that I don't know what is gonna look like. And so I sat on the board for Sea Tribe Society, which is a nonprofit that supports underrepresented founders and helps innovative and creative people achieve their dreams. And so I did that for several years. Started off as a volunteer, became the program manager for that, and did that kind of as a side. I also had my own nonprofit that supported connecting creatives and nonprofits together in Edmonton. We do showcases, workshops, and those type of things. And then I volunteered a lot. Like I took courses, like the programs. There was like United Nations Youth Young, I forget what it's called, but it was like young leadership
Right.
program. And so I just did all this learning, tried connecting as much as possible, sat on boards. And so it prepared me for where I am because having my own venture, I also had some like small businesses that I started up in Edmonton and stuff like that, that then led me here and actually made it so I was prepared for when that role came. Because I was like, I can't keep waiting for someone to just magically, give me that
Right.
role. Let me just do everything I can to prepare myself.
I love it. I love your story because it's like you couldn't get what you wanted, so you created it, right?
Exactly.
So and you did it on paid for a while, but
Yeah.
eventually it
Now we're
aligned.
here.
Yeah. Because you volunteered to coach that startup, you said, that you got, introduced to Social Innovation Hub. If
Yeah.
you hadn't volunteered, you wouldn't have even known that organization existed, right?
Well, exactly. And even to even take it even further back is Jerome, who's the associate director here. I actually met
Mm-hmm.
him while working at Sea Tribe. So he attended a
Ah,
a couple years prior. I met
right,
him
right.
through there, and then he told me, like, he posted on his LinkedIn about the Meaningful Connections program. I said, great. So it's like, that's what I always say, like, you never know who you're going to meet and how they may show up in
Mm,
your journey, because definitely meeting Jerome, I was like, he's doing some really cool things, but I didn't think it would lead me to then actually pushing me to move to Calgary, work in the Social
sure.
Innovation Hub, and really finding where I see myself working and
I mean,
playing it.
I'm happy Calgary won you over.
I was like, Edmonton, Oilers, let's go Oilers. I do love Calgary.
Yes, what's not to love? Yeah. This is really cool. I love it. I love it. Because I can relate a lot to that. I can relate to creating what you can't find. Like if you feel that there's a gap somewhere, something needs to be happening and it's not, you
Yeah.
create it,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, awesome. So a little bit more about Innovate Calgary. You did mention you focus on the Social Innovation Hub, but a little bit more about the other ones. So is there a parallel programming for the other ones too? Is it similar?
Yeah, so
For
every hub is a little
aerospace,
bit,
for yeah.
yeah, no, really good question. So every hub is a little bit different. Every hub does have membership, and members get access to our expert advisor services that founders can use to get expert support. So whether it be from like marketing to business development, to business strategy, really you name it, we have an expert advisor that can support with it. But for example, at the Life Science Innovation Hub, since they do focus on health tech and those type of things, there's the lab space there. So a lot of the founders have labs that they're working on, creating a prototype. We have 3D printers there. We have laser machines. I was actually meeting with the team earlier, so this is like perfect timing to ask the question. And then our
Awesome.
aerospace hub, the space currently it lives at the Life Science Innovation Hub, but they're developing the space right now. And then we have different programming that helps founders in those space to really help them with venture building and whatnot. And so we do have programming at all the different hubs. It just looks a little bit different based on what the founders are working on. But there's
This
also like
this
our
one's less
founder.
than Calgary, right?
Yeah.
Because some of
No.
these things we think they're normal. We think it's everywhere, but they're not. You don't need to
And
go to the
speaking from
university.
someone who wasn't in Calgary before, like I can speak like this,
True.
this is new to me, and like the ecosystem
Yeah,
here is absolutely incredible. Like I've met
it
so
is.
many amazing people and different organizations, and I'm like, there's so much support out there where it's overwhelming at times to even know
Mhm.
when to access
Sometimes,
what,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
and so
It's a
that's why
good
I also
problem
like,
to have.
yeah, I was like, that's why I like to also go out and do that work and see what's out there. So then hopefully I can share that with other founders to make it a little bit easier
Mhm.
so they don't have to go and look for everything on their own. And so that's what a lot of us do too at Innovate
Right.
Calgary. We're supporting with that venture navigation.
And we, Immigrant Takers Network, we recently joined the Social Innovation Hub as well. So that has been great. We went through the what was it called? Mission to Market hackathon, which included students across Calgary working with nonprofit organizations and just helping us tweak what a sustainable business model might look like. So yeah, we are beneficiaries of that, and we're glad for all the cool stuff that Innovate Calgary brings. So um, a question I'd like to ask you from a social entrepreneurship lens. What does a social entrepreneur, what additional layer of complexity or advantage do they get for being mission driven? And how can they navigate that?
Yeah, like I think the social innovation space is like it's been around, but like the it's growing more and more. And I think it can be difficult because since it is kind of like a newer space, it can be hard to navigate. And that's why we created the Social Innovation Hub.
Mm-hmm,
Jordana
mm-hmm,
Armstrong is actually the person who ran this and started it and brought the team on. But I think the layer is like your heart is really in what you're doing because you're solving complex world problems that
mm-hmm,
isn't necessarily something that's like, a tech platform always and whatnot. Maybe it's a program, especially when you're looking at like not-for-profits and whatnot. But I think like they're real problems that are being solved. And so it's creating systems change. And I think that's the beautiful thing to see is that as difficult as it may be, because you're not just like, okay, I'm trying to make a successful business, create some revenue, but now there's that layer of like, I'm
mm-hmm,
trying to change things with what I'm doing and do it better than maybe it has been done in the past. You're actually creating long-term changes within our ecosystem for others to come in and thrive and for people to be better supported through just life in general too. And so I think there's more impact
mm-hmm.
that's being created where it's not like, okay, someone, which is great. Like, don't get me wrong. I
Yeah,
love me
yeah.
my service-based, like product-based startups, like and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. But there's just something about those that are embedding that social impact piece that it's like you're changing something, you're creating something that wasn't there, like we kind of talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And the other end of that is the fact that in the tech ecosystem, especially, we know
yeah.
that most businesses are built for scale, right? They want to scale, they want to attract venture capital, that kind of thing. That doesn't always sync when you're a social enterprise because measuring success is not, sometimes it's not really about scaling in that sense of scaling. So because I did go through, I remember going through an investment with Innovate Calgary actually in
Mm.
2020, I think, an investment readiness program. Investment readiness. And I went through that and I came out of it deciding that, okay, we don't need funding. We don't need that kind of funding. Like that was what I came out with, even though it was supposed to be for investment readiness. It just
Yeah.
occurred to me that that was not the fit. There was no way, at least at that time, based on the model we had, we could promise ROI that would be worthwhile to some, cash-driven investor. So, but how do you balance that? because you still have to do your due diligence as a social entrepreneur. Like you still have to do everything that everyone else does, but then you are in a uniquely complex situation. So how do you thrive in that space?
Yeah. Yeah, like I think especially as like things are changing in the ecosystem, I think no matter whether you're social impact focused or not, I think the thing is investment isn't for everyone. Like not everyone
Mhm.
to be invested in, not everybody should get invested in. It may not
Right.
make sense because you're also a lot of the time giving a piece of your business away and whatnot. And I feel like we're seeing different stories that come up where it's like, yeah, sometimes it's great, but sometimes it's not and whatnot. And if you don't know whether or not that's actually for you, then you can get yourself in situations that aren't ideal. And so I think the thing is like, how can you create a sustainable venture? And I think that's what the point of like the business model enhancement
Mm-hmm,
program is. It's
mm-hmm,
like,
mm-hmm.
okay, what is something that you can, generate some revenue from? So you're not relying fully on grants. You're not relying fully
Right. Because
on money.
that's the other extreme. Relying
Exactly.
on that
Yeah.
is also not sustainable. So yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it's
Mm-hmm.
just like understanding your business and what you're doing because there are some impact investors and whatnot that are like, I want to invest in you because I believe in what you're doing and I
In
see
the course,
impact
yes.
it's gonna create. And yeah, maybe they're not getting as high of a return on their investment as they would for others, but there are investors out there that will. You just gotta find them and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the core thing is like investment isn't for everyone. And I think that's beautiful that you went through that program and you found that out because it's not easy to raise and it's not easy to go through all those processes. So figuring that out before you start
Yeah,
is definitely ideal.
totally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think we're past 15 minutes already. We try to keep it short
My
because
goodness.
this is people's lunch break and they're probably munching as they're watching this. And yeah, thank you so much for coming, Adaeze. I know there's a lot more we could have asked you, but what's the best way for people to stay in touch with you? And if they have questions, especially what it looks like to join the membership of Innovate Calgary, how can they
Yeah.
find you?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. If you're wanting to connect with me, feel free to send me a connection request on LinkedIn. We also have our website, Innovate Calgary, and you can sign up for our newsletter. We have our breakfast club the first Monday of every month, and so you can come check out the space, learn a little bit about one of the founders that we'll be highlighting and whatnot. And yeah, like reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to have a
Mhm.
conversation and connect. And yeah, thank you so much again.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Adaeze, for joining us. Thanks, everybody. You can always reach out to Adaeze if you have questions. Awesome. Go
Thank you.
enjoy the rest of your lunch. Thank you.
See you. Bye.